My mother-in-law smiled at my husband's funeral, then tried to steal the cabin he left me. But she had no idea the sheriff was carrying Daniel's final secret in his hands. My name is Clara. And the day my mother-in-law smiled at me across that dinner table, I had no idea she was already planning to steal my home. Not just any home. Cabin. The one my husband built with his bare hands before he died. The place where his last voicemail still lived on my phone. And somehow, his mother thought she could hand it over to her favorite daughter like I was some unwanted guest. It started 3 weeks after the funeral. I was still sleeping in Daniel's old flannel shirts because they smelled like him. Could barely eat, barely breathe. Every corner of that cabin carried his fingerprints. The porch swing he made, the coffee mugs he chipped, the little pencil marks on the kitchen wall where we planned to measure our future kids one day. Then Patricia showed up. My mother-in-law never liked me. She used to smile with her mouth, but never with her eyes. That afternoon she walked into my cabin without knocking. Behind her was her daughter Vanessa dragging 2 giant suitcases across my wooden floor like they already owned the place. Patricia looked around and sighed dramatically. Well, she said, Daniel would have wanted this cabin to stay in the family. And blinked. I am family. The room went silent. Vanessa laughed under her breath and started opening cabinets. That was the first moment I realized something was wrong. Patricia crossed her arms. No, Clara. You were his wife. But Daniel is gone now. This property belongs to blood. I actually thought she was joking, until she pulled an envelope from her purse. Inside was a typed document claiming Daniel had promised the cabin to Vanessa years ago. I stared at the paper. No signature. No notarization. Nothing. Just lies printed in black ink. You need to pack your things by Friday, Patricia said calmly. Vanessa's moving in permanently. I remember my hands shaking so hard I dropped my coffee mug onto the floor. It shattered everywhere. But Patricia didn't even flinch. She just stepped over the broken pieces like I was trash in her way. That night I cried harder than I had at Daniel's funeral. Not because I believed them, but because I suddenly understood something terrifying. These women had been waiting for my husband to die. The next morning, Vanessa started posting pictures online from my porch with captions like, "Finally home, red heart." People commented congratulations. Congratulations. While I was still sleeping beside my husband's ashes. Then things got worse. I came home from town 2 days later and my key no longer worked. They had changed the locks. My clothes were packed in garbage bags sitting on the porch. Patricia opened the door just enough to smirk at me. "You need to stop embarrassing yourself," she whispered. "This cabin was never yours." I wish I could tell you I screamed. I wish I could tell you I slapped her. But honestly, I just stood there in shock while rain soaked through my sweater. 'Cause grief does strange things to you. Turns you soft when you should fight. That night I slept inside my truck outside the property. At around midnight, headlights rolled up behind me. It was Sheriff Tom, old friend of Daniel's. He knocked gently on my window. "You okay, Clara?" And for some reason, that simple question broke me completely. The next morning, the sheriff asked Patricia for proof of ownership. She confidently handed him the fake document. Tom barely looked at it before saying, "This isn't legal." Patricia's smile disappeared instantly. Then Vanessa jumped in. "She has no right to this property. Daniel told us." "That's funny," Tom interrupted. He pulled a brown envelope from his truck. "Because I have the actual deed right here." Suddenly nobody spoke. My heart stopped. Tom unfolded the paper slowly while Patricia's face lost all color. Then he read the words out loud. "I, Daniel Harper, leave full ownership of the cabin and surrounding land solely to my wife, Clara Harper." Silence. Pure silence. Vanessa literally stumbled backward. And then came the part nobody expected. Tom cleared his throat again. "There's also an additional note attached." Patricia looked sick. Tom continued reading. "To my mother. If you're hearing this, it means I'm gone. And if you tried taking Clara's home after my death, Then you proved exactly why I stopped trusting you years ago. Patricia's mouth fell open. I couldn't breathe. But Tom wasn't finished. Daniel had written, "Clara loved me when nobody else did. These days, anyone who disrespects her leaves." Vanessa started crying immediately. Patricia looked like someone had punched her in the chest. But after everything they did to me, the best part came next. Sheriff Tom looked directly at them and said, "You two have 1 hour to remove yourselves from Mrs. Harper's property before I charge you with trespassing and illegal lock replacement." Mrs. Harper. Not widow. Not victim. Not helpless. For the first time since Daniel died. Felt strong again. Patricia tried apologizing before leaving. I closed the door in her face. That same porch they stole photos on. I tore down every single fake "welcome home" decoration Vanessa hung there. Then I sat alone on the swing Daniel built for us, watching sunset hit the trees. And for the first time in weeks, finally stopped crying. Because the cabin wasn't just wood and walls anymore. It was proof. Proof that the man I loved saw the truth before anyone else did. And even after death, he still protected me.